Hello everyone, you remember my windshield cover that we can just roll out and roll in as we wish? You might have remembered during the first time that I installed it. So after a few months of usage, this happens. See, it doesn't roll back to its original position due to the spring power itself has been weakened. Can I repair that? I'll try. So the first step is, of course, to take it down. Just peel off these suction cups and down it goes. Bring it back up to my home and try to repair this mechanism here. Let's go. Okay, firstly, to make our job simpler and easier, what I did was I tied both ends of these blinds with rubber bands to make sure that it doesn't fall apart when I open the spring mechanism. And this is also to make sure that the strings and the spring is in the very bottom level, so that I can have the full access of the strings and the springs when I open the box that contained both the strings and the springs. And yeah, and just like what I've suspected, it contains spools. One spool holds the strings and another spool contains the spring. What I did firstly is to take out both spools and try to separate the spring spools from the string spools. That is quite a tongue twister. So managed to take out the spools that contains the springs and put it aside. Seems to be nothing wrong with the springs, because physically I can see that it still has the springy strength. It didn't lose any spring strength. And next, I'm going to examine the springs, the spool that contains the strings, which is, as you can see, it has warped on one side. You see, one side is warping outwards if compared to the other side. It's quite surprising that this could happen, probably because of the heat of the Malaysian weather, because sometimes it does get very hot in the car when we park outside in the sun, see? So firstly, I've tried to press it to repair the warp, but then I snapped the thing off. So now it's broken into 3 separate pieces. So there's nothing else to do but to glue them together. But before that, I have to reel off all of the strings from this spool. So just simulating on how the position of the broken pieces should stick to the main body. But before that, I need to take off the end of the strings so that when I apply the glue, or the super glue in this case, it will not stick to the strings and spoil the whole mechanism. So this is the type of the super glue that I'm going to use. This is the Loctite. Loctite is the brand name, but this one is not Loctite. It's some sort like an imitation, but it does do the job. Just be careful when you apply it so that it doesn't come into contact with your fingers or skins, because this bad boy does really sticks to your skin and might create injuries. See, so before we close up the cap of this super glue, just wipe the ends of it, okay, the tip of the super glue, and also wipe off the excess glue that we have just applied to the spool, so that it is going to end up smooth. So I've left the spool to dry off, I mean the super glue on the spool to dry off, and now it's time to put back the strings. The end of the string should be tied off, and I burn the end of the string so that it will create a permanent So after I'm satisfied with the dryness of the glue and looks like the spool is back to its normal position without the warping, so I've placed back both spools into the box. Cover back the box of the mechanism. Put on both screws back into its places. Now, one thing to be considered is that when you work with plastic and metal screws, don't over screw, because it might break the plastic parts, right? So I would like to remind everybody that if you have more than 2 screws, please mark them down so that you won't lose any. So a little bit of testing before I bring it down and put it at the position on my windshield. So, the moment of truth. After I've done with the repair and the refurbish of my windscreen blinds, yeah, as you may call it, let's try it out. So firstly, to get the best position, I will hook the other end first, and then to find the best position to stick these suction cups onto my windscreen. Okay, make sure that it is straight and the strain and the tension is standardized and uniform within the whole length of this blind. Okay, so now it's closed. Let's open it up and hopefully that it will retract to the folded position that I've intended it to be. Okay, that's good, my friends. It works. One more time. Close. Hey, I think this is quite too high. I need to reposition it. I think there. Okay, this is much better. So this length over here, this distance is same as over there. Okay, let's try to shut it. Whee! Yay! I've done it! I did it! I've saved myself 15 ringgits. Okay, well, the best, if you can afford it, and the fastest way to repair it is to buy a new one from Shopee, which costs 15 ringgits, 18 ringgits including the shipping. And but since I got extra time, I've always been I love to repair everything that I own. Sounds like a hobby, right? Okay, so Let's put this up, and thanks for joining me in my repairing experience, and I'll see you next time. Take good care, my friends. Bye bye. Cheerio.